Howdy! It's exactly 1 week until Halloween, and I'm excited to say that I am participating in Vampathon. So Vampathon's basically just like a reading week thing for the book community online, so like Booktube and Instagram and Twitter. And a couple months back, I had participated in the historical romance readathon on Instagram, and it was a lot of fun. So I decided to, so I really wanted to like participate in a spooky themed readathon. So yeah, I follow Jody here on YouTube. I'll link her YouTube down in the description, though I'm sure a lot of people who watch BookTube know who she is. There's like several people that are hosting Vampathon, but I found out about it through her, and I don't know, it sounded really fun. I'm currently getting out of a reading slump, and even like before Halloween time, I normally always read something that has a paranormal element unless it's a historical romance. So I knew that I just wanted to read a ton of spooky books this season. And yeah, so I'm doing it. I also wanted to point out that I did actually create a Bookstagram, like a book related Instagram. For a while I had been posting book stuff on my like personal art account, but I don't know, I kind of just wanted to like separate them, and I created a Bookstagram account. I'll have the link to the username down below as well. But yeah, I don't know, I'm really excited. I have a pretty large like TBR. I call it a tentative TBR. I'm not somebody that typically does TBRs just because I'm very much a mood reader, and I have so many books that I can pick from for this week because I primarily read like paranormal spooky books anyways. But I'm not gonna set myself up for failure. Like, I'm not gonna like get down on myself if I don't read a ton this week. But yeah, I don't know, I'm gonna try and read as much as possible. I have 2 books that I for sure need to read for this week because they are library checkouts and they're due. So I have to start with them. But the number one book that I really, really want to read is Gothicana by Runix. This is like an indie published book, but I've been seeing a lot about this book online, and a lot of the other booktubers that I follow have been talking about this book and they love it. And I'm so excited. I honestly don't know much about it except that it is paranormal romance. I think it's supposed to be pretty steamy, and it has like dark academia vibes because it takes place in like a college university basically. But that's all that I know. I think it might have something to do with like ghosts, maybe cults. I don't know. But I really, really definitely want to read it this week. But the first book that I'm going to start with is The Haunting of Ashburn House by Darcy Coates. I'm covering up the barcode since this is a library book. I'm excited to read this because this is just like plain horror, like paranormal horror. And I actually haven't read just like a plain horror book in a while. I used to read a lot of like horror and like surreal fiction. But yeah, I'm excited. This is literally just haunted house horror. I just very casually found this author while working, and she has like a whole list of spooky horror books. So I'm hoping that I really like this because that means that I have a new author to discover and like a large selection of books that I can follow. But yeah, I'm going to start with that because this is due next week. And then I'm also going to read Bunny by Mona Awad. Okay, tons of people have been talking about this book. I think this actually came out a while ago because I've been seeing it all over social media. And from what I understand, this is a horror comedy, which sounds awesome. It's also like cult behavior. Okay, so in horror, there's like two things that like actually really scare me, and one of them is zombies. Like anything zombie or like apocalyptic related or apocalypse related, that like that shit actually scares me. And cults, like cult stuff. I don't even like watching cult documentaries because it freaks me out. But it's a comedy, so I'm like really looking forward to this. I think this is another like university. Yeah, so it's like another like college dark academia type book, and there's like these group of girls and they all call each other bunny. Think like Mean Girls but like fucked up. That's what I'm getting from this. Yeah, I wanted to throw it in because since it's a comedy, it's kind of lighthearted. It's supposed to be like disturbingly weird but also funny, so I'm excited to read this. Yeah, and then like I said, I have like a whole list of books that I'm going to get to. Well, hopefully I'm going to get to, that I can pick from. For the Vampathon, there's actually like daily prompts for Instagram posts. So I'm going to be posting every day on Instagram, and one of the first posts is like your TBR post where you just show all the books that you're planning to read. But yeah, I'm super excited. I'm going to primarily listen to these like in audiobook format. So I'm hoping a lot of these are on AnyPlay because I don't think I have a lot of like Audible credits right now. Because honestly, I'm just not super into like reading physical books anymore. It's not that I'm like into it, it's that I don't have the attention span to be able to sit down and read. I'm kind of worried because I have a feeling that this Gothicana book doesn't have audio, so what will probably happen is that while I'm at work, I will listen to one book, and then in the evenings I'll try to like read physical books. But yeah, I don't know, I'm excited. Today it's really nice outside. I think it's like low 60s, or yeah, high 60s, low 70s. It's overcast. And my partner and I are going to carve pumpkins, and I'm very excited. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and go. I'm only going to check in once I finish a book because I don't want this vlog to be super long. I have a problem with filming like 45-minute to an hour long vlogs. But yeah, I'm so excited. It's spooky season. It's 1 week until Halloween. I already got my costume picked out, but you guys probably won't see it until the very end. And yeah, I'm gonna go. Bye, guys. Hey, so it's Tuesday. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not feeling it today. I'm like super tired. I just got home from work and I'm pretty lethargic. But I wanted to check in because I did finish a book for Vampathon. So I finished The Haunting of Ashburn House by Darcy Coates. This book had a hold on it, so once I finished it, I just immediately turned it in, so I can't like show you guys the book. But pardon? But yeah, I really enjoyed it. It definitely gave me like the Haunting of Hill House vibes. Like not the book, I haven't actually read the book, but like the TV show. Especially the way that the book immediately starts out. I don't consider this a spoiler because like you learn about it within like the first and second chapter. But basically the main character named Adrienne, she has actually been to the Ashburn house before whenever she was a child, but it's kind of like a repressed memory that she's had. So she like vaguely remembers her mother like running with her, like holding her and running with her to her car. And like her mother is so frantic that she like won't even like buckle her seatbelt. And her mother is like panting and she has blood splattered on her chin. And so this memory kind of shocks Adrienne because like she doesn't really remember. Also because I feel like maybe I should have explained this before. Basically the premise of the plot is that Adrienne has inherited a house from from a great aunt that she had no idea about. She grew up thinking that she didn't have any other family members besides her mother. And recently, like prior to the events in the book, Adrian's mother fell ill and passed away. So Adrian's basically like destitute. She currently doesn't have a job. She does have a job, but it's like a writing job, and it's not going very well. She had to like sell her car and a lot of her belongings, like her cell phone, just to get by, to even like make it to the trip there. And she had been couch surfing with friends, and so she's like basically on the verge of homelessness. So she really sees this like random event as being like a almost like a savior for her, because she has nowhere else to go and she's basically penniless. And so she goes to move into the house with her cute cat named Wolfgang. I'm gonna say this right now. Nothing bad happens to the cat. I was nervous the entire time reading it that something bad was going to happen to the cat, but nothing bad happens to the cat. And yeah, she just notices that the house sort of feels weird. Basically, when she walks in, there's like no mirrors in the home, and in the spots where mirrors should be, like in the bathroom, there's actually like carved writing into the walls that says no mirrors. And she also finds on the dining room table a carved note that says something like, it's Friday, light the candle. Yeah, spooky, right? It also doesn't help that the next day, a group of girls that are around her age come to visit her, basically just to like introduce her to the new town, and they kind of give her like a letdown on how weird the house is. And basically the entire town thinks that this house is super haunted. And they also give her a little bit more info about who Edith Ashcroft was. And basically they don't have a lot of information at all. What they do know is that she was super reclusive. She would come into town every day to like buy an item in a store, but she wouldn't talk to anybody. She would go out of her way to avoid everyone. However, like one of the girls points out that she doesn't think that Edith was a bad person, because she works at like a veterinary clinic, and Edith was known to bring in like injured animals that she found. But for the most part, like Edith really like stuck to herself, and that she was always just like this really spooky, mysterious older woman that was like constantly wearing all black dresses and super reclusive. And also, every Friday, Edith would light a candle in the attic of the house. So there's like one single window in the attic, and every Friday the townsfolk would expect to see that light coming from her attic. And that's how they actually figured out how she had passed away, is because even though she was so reclusive, the townsfolk began to realize that there wasn't a light on Friday, so they went to go investigate, and they found her body. So yeah, spooky beginning, right? Yeah, things kind of escalate from there. Yeah, I'm not going to talk too much about the book because I don't want to like spoil anything. But yeah, it had just like that super classic like haunted house story where there was like a mystery surrounding the house. The only like real confirmation that the townsfolk had is that Edith was a part of a large family, and it was confirmed for sure that the other members of her family were murdered, and it was never solved. So people had definitely died in the house besides Edith, and it was her entire family, and nobody knows how it happened, because Edith was, I think, only around like 7 years old, and they had found her in the house, so like obviously they thought that she couldn't have done it because she was only a 7-year-old girl. But the details on like even how exactly they died, like who exactly in the house died, all of these are like very vague. And so really quickly, within like a couple days of Adrian moving there, a bunch of really weird and messed up things start to happen. and Adrian, with the help of her new friends that she just made, have to try and solve this mystery about Ashcroft House. Yeah, I liked it. I gave it, I'm kind of undecided. It's like a 4 to 4.5 star. Like, I really enjoyed it, but it wasn't like super amazing. Like, it wasn't like my favorite horror book or anything, but I did enjoy it. So yeah, I would probably say like a good 4.5 star. I was a little worried because I listened to the audio of this, and I listened on like a 1.5 speed. So this book was only like, I think, 9 hours long. And towards the end of it, I felt like the pace was going a little too fast and things were happening too quickly. And so I was like, how is this author going to wrap everything up to where it makes sense to me? Like, how is she going to tie in the like fragmented memory that Adrian has as like a child of this place? But she did really good. It's like it happened really fast, but like she basically just summarized it really well at the end, where I was like satisfied. And I really enjoyed the ending of this book. I actually thought it was super sweet. But yeah, I don't know. It was a good first read for the readathon. And yeah, I'm gonna keep on going. I did start 2 books. Today I started the audio for... Okay, for some reason I cannot remember the title of this book. I want to say it's called Wicked Seduction by Suzanne Wright. Oh my god, I'm so tired. Yeah, so it's the second book in the Phoenix Pack series by Phoenix Wright. And it's like a paranormal romance, like a shifter romance, specifically werewolves. I just finished the first book last week, and I rarely do this where I will immediately pick up the next book in a series and read it. I'm really enjoying this series. I was just really craving like shifter romances, and yeah, it's nice. I'm enjoying it so far. I actually think I like this one better than the first book, Feral Sins, because I liked Feral Sins a lot, but the personalities of the main characters, like the main hero and heroine, they're a little too intense for me. This is a paranormal romance that is super steamy, like a lot of smut in it. So if you're somebody that doesn't like that kind of stuff, probably don't read it. But so far it's good. I'm getting close to, I think, like the 40 or 50% mark because I'm listening to the audio. Also, I finally started Bunny by... I forgot her name. Anyways, it's called Bunny, and it's like a weird, dark academia, cultish vibe type book, but like Mean Girls meets cults. And I just started it on my lunch break, and I only take 30-minute lunch breaks, so I don't have like a good feel of it, but so far it's really like weird, but like in a good way. And it's like I can tell that the author is like making fun of like academic types, and it reminds me of like whenever I was in college. I was a humanities major, which gets like lumped into like the liberal arts department with like the English majors and like all the writing students, and like I just see all these like funny stereotypes of those types of people, and it's like, I don't know, it's really fucking funny. I wasn't gonna like it because I was like, within like the first couple paragraphs, I thought the language was really flowery, because the main character, I believe her name's Samantha, she's in school for like creative writing basically, so like she uses really flowery language, but I think that's supposed to be the funny part, because it's like making fun of like these haughty-taughty, like academic poetry, like creative writing students that are like, ooh, I go to a prestigious university, I'm so hipster and cool, but really my parents paid for my education. Not that that's a bad thing, I'm just saying, you know, that stereotype. But yeah, it's too early for me to tell if I'm gonna really like the book. I think I'm only on like chapter 5 or 6, and the chapters are really short. But yeah, that's my little update. Yeah, I'll just check back in with you guys once I finish the next book. But yeah, I'm gonna go. My dog's going crazy outside. I'll check back in with you guys later. Hey everybody. It's, what is today? It's Thursday. So I have a couple updates. Um, the first one is I DNF'd a book. And I DNF'd Bunny by Mona Awad. Or Awad? I'm not sure how to pronounce her name. But yeah, I DNF'd it and I'm so disappointed. This book has been like super hyped up. And I've been seeing like tons of people on social media, like on BookTube and like Bookstagram, talking about this book and how much they loved it. And I did not. I didn't get very far into the book before DNFing it. That's how much I didn't like it. I only got to like chapter 8 and I was like, I can't read this. Okay, like I said, it was basically like a elite prestigious school. There's a girl that goes there. She's like in a creative writing course, and there's like a couple students that call themselves Bunny, and like weird culty bullshit happens. I like barely touched a little bit on the culty BS, but the writing, I just could not get into it. So the language in this book is very flowery, and I'm pretty sure that the author is writing this way so that it's almost like satire, because these are like, oh, I'm so cool, I do creative writing, I'm gonna be an author one day or a poet. Like it's kind of like satire because it's like it sounds like elitist and like stuck up, but I could not handle reading an entire book written that way. It was like the author literally wrote almost everything in metaphor. And then she would keep repeating those metaphors. And I was like, I can't read this. Like, I don't know. Like, it just, like, when I was reading it, it felt so academic and dry. And also, like, none of the characters are likable at all, which I guess is also the point. Like, they're just kind of like representations of like those types of like university people. I don't know, but like none of the characters were likable, except I think her name was Ava, which is like the friend of the main character. I loved the parts that were between her and the main character, but other than that, I was like, none of these characters are likable. I have zero interest about like reading about these students that are like going through their like, what is it, like their senior year of their program in college. And like I just like the writing style, I was like, I literally could give less fucks about what this book is about because it was so like it was so boring for me to read. And I hate that because so many people have hyped this book up and they liked it, and I'm like, how did y'all get past all of this like frou-frou bullshit? I don't know. I DNF'd it. That's all I gotta say. Maybe my bachelor's degree is null and I'm too uneducated and don't have a refined palate for that type of book. I did, however, finish a book that I did enjoy, and I am so sorry because I'm pretty sure in the last clip that I filmed, I completely butchered the title of this book again. I butchered like both, like 2 books. I don't know. Brain fog is real. I finished Wicked Cravings by Susanna Wright. So this is the second book in the Phoenix Pack series. I just finished the first book last week, and for me that's super impressive because I normally don't immediately read the next book in the series. Like I tend to like space them out quite a bit. I gotta say I actually liked this second book a little bit more than the first book, simply because Taryn and Trey are the hero and heroine of the first book, and their personalities are really intense. But I just really liked Jamie and Trey's dynamic in the second book. Sorry if you see me fidgeting, my dog lays down here. But yeah, so basically this book follows the relationship between Dante and Jamie. Did I just say Dominic? I meant Dante and Jamie. So I think pretty recent, like following the events of the first book, this girl named Jamie and her brother Gabe move into the Phoenix Brothers pack after like the union of Taryn and Trey. And Taryn and Trey are like the alphas of their pack. And it's kind of a big deal because Jamie, like Dante grew up in the same pack as her, and she used to be basically like obsessed with them. She was like really, really into them, but he would never glance her way. He wouldn't give her the time of day at all whenever she was a teenager, and she felt pretty like insecure about it because growing up she was considered like the chubby girl that was like following him around. And even though like chubby doesn't mean ugly, like you could be chubby and hot. Like I don't get it. Anyway, and yeah, so they come back and they join the Phoenix pack, and Dante has his own reasons for ignoring her all those times. It has to do with his family growing up, and so he just didn't like pay her any attention. And then one day, whenever they've come back to the pack one morning, Dante realizes that she's no longer paying attention to him, and he's like, what the heck, like I thought you were into me. And he gets upset and kind of is like wondering like, why is she like this, like why is she not like into me anymore. Which, like, when I was first reading it, I was like, that's kind of gross, because that's very much just, like, an ego thing for him, where he's like, like, I used to be so macho and manly to her, and now she won't even pay attention to me. And at first I was like, ugh, but then, like, I can kind of get it, that, like, he would be kind of weirded out, where he's like, I wonder what happened to make her not be into me anymore. And that's because Jamie, well, for one, Jamie's like, you didn't give me any time of day when we were younger. I'm tired of wasting time on you. I'm just going to move on with my life and do my own thing. And I don't care what the heck he thinks. But Jamie also has a pretty big secret of her own. And that being is that her wolf has basically switched to being an alpha wolf after a traumatic experience that she had growing up. So yeah, basically everybody still thinks that she has a submissive wolf, but she's been hiding it from everyone because her wolf is actually suffering from PTSD, basically. She's not like a feral wolf, but since her wolf is so scared, like she could possibly attack anybody. And so she's basically not shifted for, I think, around 4 years. And it's becoming really difficult for her to hold back and stop herself from shifting whenever she's in emotionally tense and dangerous situations. I loved this book because this is kind of apparent in the first book too, but there's kind of a theme of submission being used as a healing tool. So I wouldn't say that these books are necessarily like BDSM books, but they do involve like some parts of like kink in it. And obviously this is like a shifter romance and werewolf shifters. And so there's these like dynamics between the couples of like, well, I'm an alpha, so you need to listen to what I say. But then the like typically the heroine will be like, well, no, I think that's bullshit. And then they argue. But their sexual dynamics manifest that way, but also their like their struggles, their like personal dynamics, how they actually fall in love. So like for example, obviously pretty quickly early on in the book, Dante realizes quickly like, oh, her alpha changed, and she finally admits to him like, yeah, look, I had this really traumatic experience. It isn't like sexual trauma, and I don't think this is a spoiler. It's basically she witnessed her parents being murdered like really graphically, and so that kind of fucked with her wolf. And during their sexual dynamics, Dante's trying to get her to submit to him in different ways. And this is purely consensual, even though, like, Jamie is kind of, like, fighting him with it. It's more like they're, like, arguing and, like, bantering with each other. And whenever she's giving in to him, it's actually strengthening their bond because she herself and her wolf are realizing like, oh, this isn't actually scary. He's not here to hurt me. He's here to like protect me and make me feel safe. I just need to like ease up a little bit. And in turn, like Dante, he's also learning to trust her too and like allowing her to like express herself and do different things. Yeah, I don't know. I really liked it. I rated this like a 4.5 star, and the reason why I didn't rate it a 5 star is simply because there's almost too much smut in it. I know that might be crazy to some people to say, but honestly, it was like, you know, it felt like every chapter there was a sex scene in it. And the whole time I was thinking like, damn, this is kind of excessive. And so I would actually start to like disassociate when I was listening to the audio for this, because I was like, okay, here's another sex scene, here we go. Like some of the parts, like some of the sex scenes didn't actually like do anything for the plot, you know? It was more just like a reward for whatever happened. I don't know. But yeah, it's good. I'm so excited to read the third book in this series because it's about a shifter girl named, I believe her name, I already forgot her name. I think her name's Shay. Shay, right? It's about her and this other guy named Nick from a different pack, and it's gonna be so angsty. Oh my god. But I'm really excited for it. But yeah, that's my little book update. I feel kind of sad because I've only read 2 books for Vampathon, and I'm also starting to feel a little slumpy. I'm kind of sad because a lot of the books that I wanted to read for Vampathon, they don't have audio components, and I'm kind of struggling with reading physical books right now. Like, I just don't have the attention span to be able to sit for a long period of time. I don't know. So I don't know what I'm going to read next. I think for sure I'm going to try and read Gothicana by Runex. But again, that's a book that I have to sit down and read, so I just don't know how far I'm going to go. But yeah, I'm going to go, yeah, I'll check back in with you guys. Bye. Hey guys, it's been a long time since I last checked in. It's Tuesday. It's November 2nd, so yeah, I can't remember the last time I even filmed. Basically, Halloween weekend, I got really busy. Saturday, I was like doing a bunch of house chores, and I was reading, but I didn't have a lot of time because that evening I was going to like a little small house party where, you know, everybody's vaccinated, so we were having like a little costume hangout. I went as a historical romance lady. But yeah, and then Sunday, I had to take my dog Leia to go meet a cat that we're possibly going to adopt, and that went really well. But yeah, so I got really busy, and then I meant to check in, but yesterday, Monday, I had to leave work early to go to a really stressful doctor's appointment, and yeah, I didn't feel like filming whenever I got home. But yeah, I'm here to end this vlog and talk about what I read, more like what I didn't read. So, I DNF'd another book. I don't know what happened. Like, I had a lot of fun during this readathon, but also I struggled with finding books. Like, I DNF'd 2 books? I don't know, that's really sad for me, especially in 1 week. I DNF'd Black Ice by Becca Fitzpatrick. Sorry for the glare. So this is actually a, like, killer romance. Okay, so basically I picked this up because I'm currently in the middle of reading the Hush Hush series by Becca Fitzpatrick, which is like a paranormal romance. It's like a young adult paranormal romance about fallen angels. And I have like a love-hate relationship with that series. But one of my favorite aspects about that series is that it's actually really suspenseful. Like, I like how Becca Fitzpatrick writes suspense in that book. So when I heard that she had like a thriller suspense romance, I picked it up and I was disappointed because this is actually a young adult book. And I was like, I don't know how I feel about reading like a killer romance, suspense romance, and it being made for young adults. Not like young adults reading it is bad, but like the characters being young adults. I just didn't think I was going to enjoy it, but I was like, you know what? I'm going to pick it up. This is like a really good spooky read, or so I thought. And yeah, so I listened to the audio of this and I got really far. Like, I think I only had maybe an hour and 30 minutes left of the audiobook, but I could not. I was like, I cannot dedicate more time to this book. It was just, I did not like it, but I kept trying to give it a chance because I was trying to see, like, you know, maybe if I get farther along it'll get better, but it didn't. Okay, so to give like the basic premise of what this book is about, basically this girl, I think she's probably like 17 or 18 years old, probably like 17. She, I think like 8 months ago or 8 months to a year ago, her and her boyfriend had broken up and she was like really heartbroken about it. And she decided to take, or she decides to take this camping trip on spring break to the mountains with her best friend. And her best friend, like they're both like pretty wealthy. And her best friend, her dad, like owns this like fancy cabin up there in this like hiking trail. But the weather gets kind of like pretty dangerous and cold. But she had been researching how to like properly hike, and you know, she was like looking forward to the trip. It turns out her ex-boyfriend, who's actually the best friend's older brother, he's actually going with them because his dad is like forcing him to chaperone. And so this, you know, she goes with her friend to go on this trip, and like she's riding separately from the ex-boyfriend, and they run into some car trouble on the way up the mountain, and they go to a cabin and they meet these 2 young gentlemen, and turns out those gentlemen are involved in some crime and shit goes down, and now this is a captor-captive situation with our heroine and these 2 men. And out of these 2 men, there's another gentleman whose name I can't even remember. Honestly, I can't even remember. Okay, the girl's name is Britt. Anyway, yeah, it's about her falling in love with the possible killer dude. I had some red flags immediately at the beginning. Mostly just with the characters themselves. They're annoying. God, this kind of relates back to why I DNF'd Bunny by Mona Awad. The characters in this book are, like, in both of the books, are just so unlikable that, like, I can't get into the story because I just think that they're so obnoxious. Weird. Anyway, what was I talking about? Basically, you know what? This is all I'm going to say about this book. I didn't like the characters. I couldn't connect with them. Every time that I thought that the suspense was getting better in the book, like our main heroine would start to have a flashback about the ex-boyfriend, and I just did not like it. That's all I'm going to say about it. Maybe you can check it out and you'll like it, but I didn't. There you go. Okay, so that was the sad bit about the books is that I didn't finish another book for Vampathon. However, I got pretty far, so I think I have like a quarter left of this book. I started reading Gothicana finally. So, like I've said, like throughout the vlog, I'm really struggling with reading physical books right now. I just don't have, you know, I'm just like not in the mental space to actually sit down and read a book right now. But I did start this on Saturday and I got pretty far and I love this. And even though I'm not finished with the book, I know for sure that this is going to be a 5-star read for me. This is dark adult romance. It's definitely like dark academia vibes. It's really hard to explain what this book is about, so I think I'm just going to read the description to you. So, an outcast her entire life, Corvina Clem is left adrift after losing her mother. When she receives the admission letter from the mysterious University of Varenmore, she accepts it as a sign from the universe. The last thing she expects, though, is an old and secluded castle on top of a mountain riddled with secrets, deceit, and death. An enigma his entire life, Vad Deverell likes being a closed book, but knowing exactly everything that happens in the university. A part-time professor working on his thesis, Vad has been around long enough to know the dangers the castle possesses, and he knows the moment his paths cross with Corvina, she's dangerous to everything that he has. They shouldn't have caught each other's eye. They cannot be. But a chill-inducing century-old mystery forces them to collide. People have disappeared every 5 years for over 100 years, and Corvina is getting clues to unraveling it all. And Vad needs to keep an eye on her. An unusual girl, an enigmatic man, an ancient castle. What could go wrong? And so begins a tale of the mystique, the morbid, the macabre, and a deep love that blossoms in the unlikeliest of places. Yeah, it's basically a girl goes to this castle university that's like Harry Potter, but spooky. There's no magic as of yet in this book. There's not like actual magic. This is like modern day. But this book, it has a really great balance between like the romance and steam and also this like really bizarre mystery, like weird culty stuff going on. And it's also really freaking spooky. There's several scenes in here that yeah, they're just like really, really spooky. This is definitely one of those books where like it's hard to tell if the things going on are psychological or paranormal. I'm leaning towards paranormal. Like I said, I'm not finished. I have like a quarter left. It's leaning more towards paranormal, but there's lots of things that where you're like, is this like her losing her mind? Like, I don't know. It's really good. This is a dark romance, so the hero is, you know, he's like a morally gray character. There isn't like I wouldn't consider anything in this to be dubious consent or anything like that, but it is definitely like more on the darker side of things. There's a trigger warning for mental illness and suicide in this book, so if you're somebody that struggles reading those things, I probably wouldn't suggest this. But I don't know, it's really good. I'm going to give a better review on my Bookstagram account once I actually finish this. But yeah, so I guess look forward to that. But I had a lot of fun. I loved going on Instagram every day and looking at everybody's like posts. And I don't know, it was really nice. I'm really thankful for the people that hosted this. Oh, Leia's come to say hi. Hi, Leia. But yeah, I'm gonna go. I hope you guys had a spooky season. Bye-bye.